All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I wanted to welcome everyone today to today's Stratum Insight session. My name is Adam Kurtz, and I'll be stepping you through today's topic. We'll be talking about using Stratum for alert and exception management. So if you have some data in your Stratum environment that you want to be alerted on, um, today is your session. So we'll talk a little bit about what Broadcast Manager is, Broadcast Server. We'll go through some examples of alerts, different types of alerts that you can do depending on the type of data that you have within Stratum. What are the different key components of setting up an alert? We'll go through a demo of setting some alerts up. We'll look at some of the building blocks of that. And then I'll leave you with some different ways that you can contact me if you have any further questions about today or anything else regarding Stratum. Today, we'll be concentrating mostly on the Access Hub. So down here in the lower right hand quadrant, we've got the what we call the Stratum Access Hub, which allows you to take advantage of the email distribution, which is what we'll be concentrating on today, focusing in on the email distribution side of things and how we can finagle this to behave like an alert, essentially. And I'll show you how we would do that, what you would need to do to set that up. What is Broadcast Manager? Basically, it's an extension of the web interface Stratum Viewer, and it provides the ability to deliver data to users on a scheduled basis. So it leverages your existing reports and views that you have within Stratum Viewer. All the roles and users that are set up are already set up so that you can include them on these reports. And then you can schedule it so that it runs automatically. So you don't have to worry about it running any longer. You don't have to kick it off manually. It can be scheduled. So basically, you'll have to define basically an action. So if we talk about what an action is, it's basically defining the what, who, when, and how. The data, you'll include as part of the view. Recipients, obviously the people that you want to send the report to. The schedule, you'll apply it to a group and a schedule so that the alert or the action processes automatically on a scheduled basis. And you have these groups and schedules so that you can actually tie these actions to the groups and schedules through the interface. So this is all user controlled. The manager, as you can see, it sends out the report as an Excel attachment. It also can be sent as an image as part of in the body of the email. So it's up to you in terms of how you want to send it out. It only contains the filter data. If I was going to set up an alert showing negative growth for my gross margin, which is kind of what this might be hard to see, but this is what I'll show you in the demo. It's basically you'll set up views that have filters that will achieve your alert. We'll talk about that in a couple more minutes. Examples of alerts would be returns that are greater than a certain threshold, inventory levels below safety stock, expenses exceeding budget or sales for that matter, customer fill rate below 90%, missing product attributes such as descriptions or anything else for that matter, a large order quantity. Maybe you want to be prepared for a big order that hit your hopper, and now manufacturing needs to be aware of it. Sourcing all the rest of the company so that you know that you have the materials in place to meet the demand of that order. So you want to think about, alerts as a proactive notification of these business or these data situations. Again, returns, sale, inventory are all good examples. Growth factors, sales below forecasts or budgets, all great ideas in terms of setting up alerts. And manage by exception instead of looking for these anomalies with your eye, have the program do it, and then you can manage these anomalies by exception. And it utilizes the Stratum functionality. There's nothing new to learn here. You got the views that you've already been working with. The action can be set up within the view itself rather easily. And then you can use the rest of the broadcast manager features to group it and schedule it as needed. So again, you have the view with the filter that defines the criteria of the exception or the alert. The action, which is part of the view that executes the view and then sends the alerts to the recipients that you'll identify. And it'll only send the alert when the data is present. So if the filter doesn't return any rows for the view, then an email is not sent and users are not notified. So yeah, and then you can also take advantage of the broadcast manager so that users can schedule and group these actions together as they see fit. A trickle load is mentioned throughout here is because you could have a scenario where this type of data is loaded throughout the day. Open orders and inventory, as we all know, fluctuate throughout the day. So having intraday updates could be a key component here as well. If you need to contact me, and if you have any questions regarding today's session or anything else regarding Stratum, you can contact me there. It's my email and my phone number. And you can also contact Sylvan, as you can see the website and our phone number as well. So if we were going to take a look at some of this in the demo, here we have viewer, and I wanted to basically show you how to get to your actions. So you'll come to the hamburger menu in the upper right-hand corner here, and you'll notice under Analyst Tools is the ability to get to your actions, the broadcast group, and the broadcast schedule. So if I were going to go into actions, I can see under actions that we have up to 22 actions defined within our demo environment. And if we were to take a look at some of these, we can see that there's a couple alerts in here, like a negative gross margin growth alert. So if we were to take a look at this action, I can double click on it and it will open the action and give me more information about it, such as the name of the action, the description. Is it global or personal? Who's it being sent to? Right now, it's just me, but I can dictate who I can send it to just by simply looking for the users that I want to send the report to. So I can add in more users as needed. What kind of attachment is it? Will it be in Excel or is it just going to be included as text to the body of the email? Is it a file or an email that I'm sending? So you have these options within the action, whether you want to email the report or send it to a network location, who you're going to send it to. Again, all those questions would be answered. The who, the what, the when, the how, right? So all that should be answered within this process. Further down below is the email of what the actual subject and the body email will say. Do you want to include the link to the view? And probably most importantly for an alert is, do you want to send data when no data exists? And you would turn that to no, so that when this view runs and there's no negative growth, then why bother the users? Everything's hunky-dory at that point. And down below, we can see the actual view that's being used for the alert. And as we can see, it's not tied to a group yet. So no big deal there. So let's take a look at that view. Before we run this alert, I can actually run this in place. It'll go ahead and process it, and that'll kick off. But if we were to take a look at the comparative sales gross margin alert, we kind of see what that view would look like. And it's pretty simple. We've got gross margin year to date versus last year, and then anything that's negative for my percent of change is going to be included. So as we can see, we've got a filter here that's showing me year to date sales percent of change that's negative or not growing year to date. So these are the different product brands that are within the food service division. So as we can see, we're only doing the food service division for this particular alert because we're drilled in on it. And then we've only got we've got these different and private label as well, all showing negative growth. Okay, so that's basically our view that we'll be using for the negative gross margin alert. And I can also right click within the view here and I can actually display the actions. And again, we know that we've already got the negative gross margin alert action tied to this view. That's another way to confirm it. Okay. So when this gets processed, what do we get? Um, well, first of all, you'll get an email that says that the process completed. So if you're the one that developed the actual and created the action, if it's your action, then you'll get an email saying that it completed. You'll get an action log saying that giving you the log file of the actual action, what it did, and then did it complete successfully, as we can see it did. So that's one email, and then the other email is the actual alert itself. So if we go into that, we can see the actual comparative negative sales gross margin alert. We can see here's the Excel file, and there's also a link to get back to the view. So if I were to highlight the actual file here, there's my data, just like as if I were to run it within Viewer. These are all the same product brands that we just saw within the view, but now I'm being alerted to it as a product manager or a category manager, and now I can understand the different brands for the food service division that are not growing. And I've been alerted to it, and now I know without looking at anything other than my email and being alerted to it, I know that I've got to dig deeper to figure out why sales is declining for these brands. So it could be -0. You can have it as less than negative uh, a negative number, maybe there's something that at a negative 10%, maybe you'll decide what threshold you'll want to use for that alert for that particular situation. Other types of alerts that you could run are like a low stock alert. So if we were to take a look at this particular view, we can run it and we can see that this is by product band and brand and product. And we can see that we've got a fair amount of data at our fingertips here. So if I were to look through this manually, I might miss some things. But here I can set it up as an alert and just have this sent to a group of people for logistics and supply chain so that they're aware of these negative available to promise numbers. And available to promise, if you're a manufacturer, you start out with a certain number of inventory. You might have some open POs or work orders. I don't happen to have any data there for that, but you can show that as part of building up your inventory. Or open orders, this is what's going out the door. So if we have on hand minus plus our PO minus our open orders, is going to basically give you your available to promise. So, um, and you can see, I can double click on that. You can actually see what the actual math is that they're doing here. So they're actually, and then they're backing out the forecast. So that's just one other thing that they're doing as well. So, and that gives us this, and again, if I had a forecaster, I don't happen to have one there, but as you can see, the math is correct. I can see that we're if just with these two data points, we'd be down, um, these number of units for these items. Basically saying we're negative stock situation. So, and it's going to get worse as we go out next month because, as you can see, there's more open orders, more demand to fulfill. So again, with the other data points that would be available, open POs, the frozen forecasts, the numbers might look a little better, of course, but we can use this view as an alert as well to alert inventory folks, supply chain folks, forecasting analysts, so that they're aware of these situations as well. Um, and then the open order. So this particular view has an action tied to it to just show me orders that are over a certain amount. So anything greater or equal to 8,000 units here at the grand total level will be shown here. So if any account has any more than 8,000 units of open orders, it will be shown here as an alert. So a lot of, again, just showing you some ideas. You can base it on returns. There's a lot of different things that you can base your alert on. But as you can see, the alert starts with the view. Um, and make sure you have all the data components that you want within the view. The alert, the magic of the alert is the actual filter, so that you're basically just filtering out the items that you want to show the users. If I were to then go in and see um, the action here, it's the big order alert. So that's my action, and that's what will get kicked off. However frequent you want to run this. If I were to look at the alert itself, let's go back into analyst tools, into our action, and we can see that our order alert should be in here somewhere. The negative gross margin alert. There's the, oh, it's part of the. Let's see, it might be part of the. I'm not seeing it here per se. Let's go back to the view. Stratum big order alert. Got it. So just going back into the actions, and there it is. So Stratum big order alert. If I double click on that, we can see how this is defined. We can see that indeed there's the view. We've already taken a look at that. We know the filter's there. There's the group that it belongs to. And so this is actually getting kicked out on a daily basis, although it's not running on a scheduled basis. So, but yeah, I mean, again, inventory, orders, um, sales dips or declines, all really good examples of different types of alerts that you can schedule. And again, part of this would be if you go into the alert, um, send the email when no data exists. So again, by default, that's turned on. So by turning that off, it's basically turning it into an alert. So that again, when the filter filters and returns no rows, then the alert's not going to get sent and the users are not going to get bothered. So that's one of the key components of the alert is to turn this off, the send email when no data exists, so that you're not bothering the users if the filter returns no rows. So, but that's the magic behind the alerts is setting up, first of all, deciding what alerts you want to set up, what's critical, what's mission critical for you guys at your company. What type of data do you have within Stratum that you can set up the alert for? And so hopefully I've given you some ideas, big order alerts, um, negative growth, low or no stock situations. As long as you have the data within Stratum, you can build the view, build the filter, and build out your alerts as needed.